we have seen announced, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, new concessions to
Yeah,
help out the Japanese factories, I assume.
yeah,
So it's a new concession system which works on like a percentage of points scored or something like that. I'm trying to find it now. I'm just flicking
yeah, yeah.
through Twitter
I've
trying
done
to
it.
find the actual wording of it. But it let me see if I can search something else. It is gonna
It's going to benefit.
obviously help a little bit, and it's gonna be good um for the championship, I suppose. But one thing I do think is Ducati might not be happy because not because I think they wouldn't have had an issue if it was adjusted to help maybe the like Honda, for example, who are doing so poorly. But I think under the new system, even the likes of Aprilia and KTM will get at least some kind of concession or help or advantage
Yeah.
that Ducati doesn't have. Which, whether you think that's fair or not, is another thing. But let me bring
The
up an article here.
big one for Honda and Yamaha is they get to develop their engine throughout the season, which KTM, Aprilia, and Ducati obviously won't be able to do. And that's where Yamaha have absolutely struggled since. God, how far back you got to go for that? 2017, maybe 2018. What year was it they
Hmm.
publicly apologised to their riders? Was that 2018 when they
It might have been.
because their engine was so bad? I mean, yeah, they've won a championship since then, but where have they been since that? I honestly think that 2021 championship was just a one-off random event that happened because of how random MotoGP was at the time. Because Fabio and Franco have been nowhere since, and
Mm,
it's just, but they need it. They need it. Honda needs the concessions as well. Honda looked okay today as well, looking at it. So yeah, they're in dire need, and obviously they don't want Honda and Yamaha, these two giant manufacturers, especially where Suzuki have gone recently. Obviously,
yeah.
Kawasaki went in the past. Those two giant Japanese brands, you don't want them throwing their toys at the pram and going, "Nah, that's it, we're going." And it's
And the
just
Japanese do get cold feet, as we see. They are the ones that are more likely to just be more conservative in the way they approach these things. They wouldn't just be like,
Suzuki have
"Oh,
left
we'll just
twice.
push through," you know.
But the big
Um,
thing as well they get is their riders are allowed to test at any track and at any point throughout the season. So how many? Yeah, and they get 6 test days as well, 2 aero updates throughout the season. So I know it's a
if
busy year next year, but like you can have Fabio and Luca Marini out a private test in like
yeah, you do
the
feel like this is designed to accelerate
their
the
progress.
catch up a lot quicker. Because I've got it
Yeah.
here in front of me now. Like it's separated into four different ranks: A, B, C, and D.
Mhm.
A being 80, if you have equal or more than 85% of points or whatever it is, however percentage
Yeah,
of
it's
points
just
is the
petty,
category.
yeah.
All the way down to if you have less than 35% of the points, which is the free private testing at any GP circuit. You get 6 wild cards, 9 or 10 engines per season, free engine spec. I'm assuming that's engine development, and then
Yeah.
2 aero updates. So that is um, that's a huge amount of a huge advantage. And for you think with that kind of advantage, if a company as big as Honda can't make the most of it, then something's really wrong.
Yeah, but it's the thing of Honda's test rider. They'll use Bradl again at 6 wildcard events, and he will crash at every single event, and he won't bring in any
That's a
data
good
from the
point.
races, or he'll finish dead last like he always does. What was it at Germany this year, his home Grand Prix, and he was like 15 seconds behind the next rider in front of him. It's like, what data has he
Yeah, that's
collected
poor.
15 seconds further behind? But whereas like
It's
Cal
weird
Crutchlow got used
because
once
he,
this season for Yamaha.
yeah,
It's like,
and
it's too
the
off for
Bradle thing's
them.
weird because he was at one time a good Grand Prix rider.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I I did an article a while back, when there was all this thing about Mark's leaving, who's gonna replace him, and Bradl put in like, his name into the hat and was like, "I could replace Mark." And I was reading it. It was
you can replace shit at the moment, mate.
I think Speed Week did the interview. I was reading it, I was like, "No." I was like, "If Honda pick you to do a full-time ride, then they've gone severely wrong if they can't attract a Moto2, like, youngster, and they can only attract Stefan Bradl. But
Mm.
yeah, it will help them. Don't get me wrong, it will help them. And I think I think it was Paolo Ciabatti was asked earlier, maybe Davide Tardozzi was asked about what they think about these new concessions for like if Ducati are being punished. And they were saying they want to see other manufacturers at the front. They don't want it to just be a Ducati battling a Ducati because he said it's less stress for them then to try and control
No,
and
yeah.
oh Ducati championship. But I think that was a bit of a if they'd come out and said, nah, I don't like it, I think they would have got slated on social media. So a little bit of a
Yeah,
diplomatic
just a bit of
answer.
PR management there from the boss.
But still, I mean, they get 90 more test tires than Ducati do. And even when you look at KTM and Aprilia, who are in section 3, who I think get the same thing as oh, that's the big thing. Ducati don't get wild cards either. Like Pirro
Yeah, no
cannot.
no wild cards. So
Yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah. We
Um,
won't see any of Michele Pirro next season apart
no,
from that test.
the guy he'll be spewing. He will
That's
be
that's like
spewing.
that's his favorite part of doing a test, and
Yeah.
he'd love turning up for a wild card, leading
We're
like a
still
lap.
we're still luckily, we're still looking, at, Pedrosa wildcard, so that'll be okay.
Well, he said earlier it might be Pol Espargaro.
All right. No, I don't wanna see
He said
that.
he said that him and
Come
Pol because
on.
they get 6 wild cards, so I think Danny's probably going to do like 2, and Pol will do
Yeah.
like 4. So I
So
don't
is
think
it
Danny's interested at all. He really
he should
like
stop doing so fucking well when he does it then.
yeah, I think if he doesn't turn up to what are the test tracks this year? If he doesn't turn up to Jerez and Misano again, then I think MotoGP fans should just riot because they're like, come on, Danny. Like we want to see Danny Pedrosa. Like
That's half the
if
fun.
yeah, it's great when he just turns up and he's like, yeah, might get a podium, might not, we'll see.
Yeah.
And he just sticks it
Rude.
in fourth and starts on the front row, and it's like, Danny, come back full time, lad. Like
Yeah, I know. It actually is one of those things where it's like you'd get more value out of him at his age than you would out of a lot of these guys in the, prime of their career.
yeah,
But,
I'd stick him back on a KTM full time. If any of them get
mm,
injured, they've got the perfect backup rider. That's all I'm saying.
exactly. Like, it would just be challenging straight away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know he tests all the time, but yeah, if we don't see him at least twice next season, I think something's gone wrong there. Especially when they get 6 wildcard entries.
Yeah, but like I
Like it
said,
will help.
because you've got a sort of high profile-ish reserve rider there in Pol Espargaro, you know, who full-time rider until this year, but
They've got like
yeah, they
4 test
probably would be
riders
keen to
now.
split the duties between them 2, I suppose.
They've got so many test riders though. They got Folger, they got Pol
Jeez, yeah.
Espargaro, they got Danny Pedrosa, and they want everyone always forgets they've got Mika Kallio still as well. He's just sat around
He's not doing
collecting
anything
dust.
though, is he?
He's just collecting dust at this
He's not
point, I
doing
think.
anything. He's just
Jonas
sitting at the
Folger was
factory using the coffee
yeah,
machine.
I don't know.
He's
I'm
like, "What are we
sure
up
he's
to today, lads?" They're like, "Carbon chassis," you know how it is. He's like, "Yeah, good on you. Let me know if you need me for anything."
I'm convinced he's still around. I'm gonna have to look this up. I'm convinced he's still a test rider. Yeah, it's good though. I do what are your thoughts on the concessions? Because
I
I think
I
it's
I think we do need it. I think we do need it because the way it was, I know obviously they do get some concessions, and this almost seemed a little bit unfair. You get so much when I'm reading it now; it's like a lot, but
yeah.
you just can't have it. Especially like it wouldn't be almost. Actually, it probably would be worse. I was about to say it wouldn't be as bad if Ducati was only like 4 bikes, but then it would be like the same guys winning all the time because there'd be none of the other manufacturers would be challenging. At least this way, all the Ducatis are beating each other. So it's still quite different at the front. So maybe it is a good thing they've got 8 bikes. But you do want to see it. It was so refreshing that KTM actually sorted their shit out a little bit this year. Um, would have
But
liked
the
for
difference
Aprilia to have been a touch closer. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not the same with like a Yamaha running around at the back doing shit all and a Honda running around at the back. It feels weird. I don't like it. You know, the fact that a Marquez feels like he has to go and ride for a satellite team for another manufacturer just because he can't actually ride this thing. You know,
but
it's
yeah, it looked okay actually at the test today, their new one. So maybe he did jump ship a little too quickly, I guess, but I mean, yeah, going over to a satellite GK, you don't have to do as much, do you, there, really? You get a bike given to you that's already got settings figured out for it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know, yeah. You can just sort of get on and ride, don't have to worry about too much.